Welcome to the Psych Central Show, where each episode presents an in-depth look at issues from the fields of psychology and mental health. With your host, Gabe Howard, and featuring Vincent M. Wales.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special Valentine's Day edition of the Psych Central Show. With me, as always, is Vincent M. Wales.
Hey there.
But I have brought along a couple of special guests. I have brought along my lovely wife, Ms. Kendall Howard.
Hello.
And additionally, I have brought along my ex-wife, Ms. Lisa Kiner.
Oh, thanks for having me, Gabe.
You are very welcome. Now, many people, of course, think, well, now, wait a minute. You've got your wife and your ex-wife on the same podcast, so clearly you have them separated by many, many miles, which in this case is true, but that was just because of technical difficulties, not because of necessity. We are all very much friends. Lisa and I have known each other for a long time. We were married for 5 years, and after the demise of our marriage, but the beginning of our friendship, I met Kendall, who is my wife, and not current wife. I have learned that's not the best thing to say. And we all get along just fine. I'll throw out the first question to Lisa. Lisa, are you Kendall's friend?
Yeah, I guess so. I would say yes.
Rousing support of Kendall. Let's.
I don't mean it like that.
Kendall.
I'm just saying,
it is a little odd.
I think we're all friends. We're all in the same social group.
Well, yeah. I mean, Lisa and I would definitely consider Lisa a friend. I mean, she's a friend first and an ex-wife way down the list. Yeah.
Let's try something. Hey, Vin, are you Kendall's friend?
Yeah.
See, look at that.
Yeah.
You just said yeah.
I don't understand the system.
All right. So many people find this odd. As a public speaker, Lisa is heavily involved in my story because Lisa is the first person to realize that I was suicidal. She's the first person to realize that I had mental illness, and she got me help. So she's a very big part of my story, and I can never truly stand up and tell it without involving Lisa. And then I get to the part where she's my ex-wife, and people think, oh, well, that's too bad. I wonder what she's doing now. And then I get to the part of the story where I say she's standing in the back. And then people become very, very confused. And so many people have come up and asked questions about this that we decided, hey, this is excellent fodder for a podcast. So that's where we're going with this. And Vin has sort of decided to wrangle the three of us, ask us some questions, and really get out, how does this work? Because for some reason, people have decided that being friends with exes is so abnormal, it is worthy of discussion.
Yeah, I think that's probably the first thing that would pop into most people's minds is, well, first of all, holy crap, how can you stay friends with an ex at all, let alone have her be friends with the new Mrs. U? I mean, how does that work? Now, personally, I don't subscribe to that question because I am friends with my ex as well. So it's not weird at all to me, but to so many people I've met, they just kind of look at me like, are you kidding me? How? So, how, Gabe? How do you do it?
Well, first, it was easy for me. I hold Lisa and Kendall both in the highest of regards. So it was really, really easy for me. So I'm going to throw that exact same question to Kendall, because many people want to know how Kendall can possibly allow, and that's the word people use, allow her husband to fraternize with his ex-wife.
Fraternize. There's a word. No, but she saved your life. At the end of the day, people always want to gloss over that fact, but you would not be here if it were not for Lisa. So I owe Lisa everything too. I mean, and I don't understand why it is normal for exes in relationships to hate each other, but it's considered abnormal if they get along. You know, you and Lisa came to an agreement that your marriage wasn't working out. You guys were better as friends. So you guys stayed friends. I came along after the fact. I see kind of myself as the obtrusion, if you will. And you both kind of said, hey, this chick is cool. I'll marry her. I'll be friends with her. It's cool. So I don't see anything wrong with being friends with Lisa, and I don't see anything wrong with you being friends with Lisa. You know, you two have a very, very strong friendship, and it benefits a lot of people. So who am I to take that away from the world?
Wow.
You guys have done a lot of good work together.
So Lisa,
that was really nice, Kendall. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome.
So let's throw it another way at Lisa. Lisa, I know you're gonna hate this, but Kendall is younger, and Kendall is the new wife. So when we're dealing with stereotypes and we're dealing with, you two should be fighting, her being younger and newer should be a real threat to you. You should, in the wild, hate her. So how can you tolerate her? How can you be friends with her? Shouldn't you be pulling her hair or something?
No. It was
good answer. Good answer. Yay.
I also get a lot of flack from people who feel that it's a problem or that it's not right or it's wrong somehow. I actually get a fair amount of criticism for remaining friends with you and for remaining friends with Gabe and then for being friends with Kendall. And it just never seemed odd to me. It never even occurred to me that we would do anything else. I never thought that there would be a time where we weren't still, in each other's lives. I never thought, maybe that was naive, that even though we were getting divorced, there would ever be a point where I didn't see you anymore. So, and then in terms of Kendall, it's not a competition.
Thank you.
We're not vying for the same position or for the same spot. So it's this idea that there should be that doesn't make sense because it's not a contest. What would the prize be? Marriage to Gabe?
Hey,
let me.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Let me ask you this. I don't know that Gabe has ever really told me this story. Maybe he has, but how did the two of you, Lisa and Kendall, how did you first meet, and how did that go?
Gabe actually orchestrated a dinner. So we met at Max and Irma's, of all places, because at the time it was Lisa's favorite restaurant. So we met, and Gabe and I had been dating, I think, for a couple of months at that point. And this was, I don't want to say a test, but it was kind of, very, very important to Gabe that the new girlfriend get along with his best friend. I mean, it was, you take the ex-wife thing out of the equation. He just wanted his new girlfriend to get along with his wife. And our friend Angie joined us, and the four of us had a really nice dinner. I mean, it was, it was a little awkward at first, just like meeting any new people is, but it was really enjoyable. And then we pretty much have been like the Four Musketeers since then. I mean, we hang out weekly, watch Survivor, and, just kind of hang out. So, I mean, it's normal. It's normal.
So I want to correct your Freudian slip. You said that it was important for Gabe's girlfriend to get along with Gabe's wife. I'm going to assume that you meant
with
ex-wife.
Best friend is what I
meant. That's for another show.
Yeah, sorry.
That's another show.
So of course it was. I was very, very nervous because, as Kendall and I have been married almost 5 years, and as we know, obviously you don't want to date somebody that doesn't like your friends. But it sort of adds an extra element when you say to somebody, hey, why did you and that person break up? Oh, because she didn't get along with my ex-wife. But of course, nobody thinks anything of it if you say, why did you guys break up? She didn't get along with my best friend, or she didn't get along with my friend. So the truth of the matter is Lisa is both my best friend and my ex-wife. So it's all in how we choose to see her. And the reality of it is in our circle of friends, we just see Lisa as Gabe's friend. But for some reason, everybody sees Lisa as Gabe's ex-wife. And it's also important to bring up, and Lisa, you obviously have to speak to this, Lisa is in a significant long-term relationship as well, and we hang out with him from time to time. So I know it's hard to speak to people, but how does Warroad feel about this, Lisa?
Warroad is fine with it, obviously. Otherwise, it's not something I would be doing. We've been together for 6 years now, and I have to say, and I'm sure this has happened to Kendall as well, it's actually something people will criticize him for, which I find extremely annoying. Well, how can you allow her to do that? How can you let her still be friends? So it is surprising how much pushback we both receive on this.
The question I always get is, well, they must have kids. So, and when you say no, it's an immediate, well, then why are they still friends? And and again, I know I've said this before, but you two were friends long before I came along, so why would I stop that? But yeah, I do get criticism for it as well. And, him and I've had that conversation too, and we just laugh, it's, that's all you can do. And, and it is really, really funny that society thinks that, two people that can break up from a relationship and be friends is very, very odd, whereas, you and Gabe should fight heavily from time to time would be normal. But since you guys are adults and can handle these kind of relationships, that makes you too odd.
Well, let's not go too far.
Never understood that.
Kendall or Lisa and I do fight heavily. I mean, let's just not because we're married, but because
divorced for a reason.
So, but Lisa, not to put you on the spot, but it is, I've said this before, Lisa's not a public speaker or a writer, so she doesn't have occasion to say it publicly. So now is your opportunity. But one of the things that I say is that Lisa and I's marriage was a failure on every level. It really, really was as a marriage. But our friendship was never a failure. So that's what made it very difficult when, Lisa and I sort of were, I don't want to say on again, off again, because we were technically on, but it made it difficult because our friendship was very strong, so I didn't want to leave. But our marriage was very weak, so I wanted to go. I talk about and write about this a lot. Lisa, not so much. How did you see the end days of our marriage versus the beginning days of our friendship?
Probably much more negatively than you did. Well, I don't know how much personal detail are we getting into here. I mean, ultimately, you are the one who left me. You did end our relationship. I probably should have done so sooner, but did not. You're the one who took the final step. Thank God. So, well, think where we'd be now. So
let me stop you right there, though. Let me ask you a question, Lisa. So yes, I took the final step. That's out there. It's on the internet now.
It's not a secret.
However, now that you know where our relationship is now, if you would have known then what you know now, would you have taken the first step? In other words, is the thing that kept you from taking the first step this fear that we would never see each other again?
Yes. That is definitely something that kept me in our marriage for longer than I probably should have stayed otherwise. Just the idea that, but I don't want him to be gone forever. I don't want to never see this person again or never have anything to do with them again. So if there's only two options, I'm gonna choose to stay in this terrible relationship. So yeah. So yes, if I had known this now, we certainly would have done that faster.
The thing that strikes me most about this conversation in general is that it raises a lot of very large issues regarding relationships in general. One of the terms that both of you have kicked out here is, how could you allow or permit your person to do this, which of course implies ownership, that your spouse is your possession and you have the right to control them in some fashion. Is that how you feel when people say that to you?
Yes, and I think that's one of the reasons it bothers me so much, and also the idea that I should be at odds constantly with Kendall, because it just goes, it's a misogyny thing, this idea that women are catty and always in competition with each other, and so yes, that aspect of it does bother me quite a lot.
Well, it goes the other way too. Men have an issue with that.
Well, yeah,
the same as women do.
You wouldn't want your property to be wandering around. Yeah, you gotta keep her in line.
Yeah, we do have a real issue with possessiveness in relationships in our society, and it's kind of scary. Now, another thing that I've heard, and not being from Europe, I can't really say, but I have come to understand that in Europe, for example, when a couple separates, it's far more common for them to stay friends than to not.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, that's what I've heard. I didn't try to look up any statistics to see if it's true, but that is what I've heard anecdotally. And what's the difference? How does that compare? Why would that be different over there than over here? What is it about our society that makes us want to automatically hate each other when we split up?
I think that might be a question for its own podcast about American society that's different from Europe. I don't know.
What's fascinating to me is that breakups always seem to want to generate a winner and a loser. Yeah. And we even have phrases in our society, you won the breakup. you lost the breakup, she, all kinds of stuff like that. And I felt, I've been married twice. Lisa is my second divorce, not my first. And I felt a sense of loss both times. I felt that I had failed at something that I had set out to do. I felt that I broke a promise that I had made, and there was no winning. I didn't feel good about either one. And I'm surprised at the number of people that are divorced, are angry at their ex, and they feel that they have won some sort of prize because of that anger. And I think that that's sad. And as Kendall pointed out, we don't have children, and we've reached this level of friendship and happiness. And I'm not angry at my first ex-wife either. She's out there living her life, and she's fine, and that's fantastic. And I think that's healthy. I think it's incredibly healthy. I'm not trying to one-up anybody.
We do have an issue in our society of making everything a competition. And again, this could be a separate podcast all unto itself, but competition is not the positive thing in our society that people seem to believe it is. I view competition as 90% negative. And I'm not even sure about that remaining 10%. So you're right. Yeah. And you both, you both have alluded to that, it's not a competition. It's not a zero-sum kind of thing. Nobody wins a divorce. You both lose. Some just come out of it more unscathed than the other one. That's about the best you can hope for, I suppose.
So we're getting to the part of the podcast where we have to end, and I know it's been a rousingly great time, but I want to tell a great story about my wife, Kendall, and what, frankly, a good sport that she is. So Kendall, being wife number 3, gets called the wrong name a lot when you're meeting family.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I will do my best to dig up the shirt and include a picture with the podcast, but the cousins that you only see at weddings, funerals, and graduations kept calling Kendall the wrong name. So in order to stop this trend, we made a shirt that said "My name is," and it had my first wife's name crossed out, and then it said "My name is Lisa," and it had that name crossed out, and then it said Kendall, and then everybody got to get Kendall's name right. And Kendall wore the shirt with pride.
Oh, I did. I love that shirt. I know exactly where it is.
And Kendall, this is we posted this picture on Facebook, and some people reacted negatively to you agreeing to wear it.
I got flack even for wearing this shirt. I thought it was funny. Even members of my own family were like, "That's a little bit in poor taste." And I'm like, why? I mean, most of my family has met Lisa. We've had family functions together. I mean, if Lisa and I are okay with this, I don't understand why everybody else has problems with it. It goes back to everybody, I think, feels that we need to live a certain way, but Lisa and I are marched to the beat of our own drums, and we're going to be friends for forever, probably. So,
well, for as long as you're with Gabe.
Thank you for your loyalty, Lisa. Thank you. As Kendall is fond of saying, I only remain friends with even-numbered wives, not odd-numbered wives. So we'll see what happens. I have never made it to a 6th-year wedding anniversary, so Kendall and I have decided that 2018 is our 6th wedding anniversary, and we are going to throw one heck of a party. And while I'm not going to invite all of my listeners, if I happen to be a millionaire, we'll see what we can do. So thank you, Lisa and Kendall, for agreeing to be guests on the Psych Central Show. And as always, Vin, thank you for wrangling everybody and doing what you do. And
no problem.
Everybody, on the count of 3, let's all say bye. 1, 2, 3. Bye!
PsychCentral.com is the internet's oldest and largest independent mental health website. Psych Central is overseen by Dr. John Grohall, a mental health expert and one of the pioneering leaders in online mental health. Our host, Gabe Howard, is a professional speaker, award-winning writer, and mental health advocate. You can find more information on Gabe and his work at gabehoward.com. Vincent M. Wales is an award-winning speculative fiction novelist and suicide prevention crisis counselor. You can find more information on Vincent at vincentmwales.com. If you have feedback about the show, please email talkback@psychcentral.com.